guys, welcome back to the family of three. We're going to today do a sort of tips video on a Disney cruise coming to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for us, but it's something that we felt we should do when we booked Disney. We tend to do a lot of research online, a lot of YouTubing, like checking for things and trying to find out information, and there were certain things that we sort of either felt wasn't there or just was lacking, so we thought we'd fill you guys in on some of it.
Yeah, and share some of the things that we learnt along the way as well. So first off, we thought we'd start off about checking online. It was actually quite difficult in the end. There's not much you find out about it prior until all of a sudden it's time to, and you're sort of rushing to get your early spot for getting on the ship.
Yeah, so basically you obviously book your tickets when you decide you want to go on the cruise. At that time you can't check in. So closer to the time to checking in, basically it's something I think you have to do it through the app or maybe on the website as well. But they give you a set time, and that time when you sort of do your check-in is also when you can book your boarding time. Now that's sort of why it's important to be sort of there.
On the ball, on the time, so you can get a good slot.
Now what they don't tell you, as Rebekah was saying, you need heaps of information and heaps of time. So you're going to need basically whatever form of ID you're taking. Because it's New Zealand cruise for us, we could use our driver's license, but like if it's international, you probably need your passport as well. And then you need like a photo of you where there's no extra things in the background, it's just of your face, like sort of like a selfie type thing, as well, of all the people in your party. So yeah, it takes quite a long time to get through it all, so be aware that, you know, it's not going to be this quick little thing, but in the end it's okay once you get through it all, and then you just have to wait until they finalize all your check-in, and they'll send you out their what are they called that you put on the suitcase? Yeah, the luggage tags.
Luggage tags, yes, for going on the ship.
So following on from booking your cruise, there's also a few other things you need to do even before you do check-in, and that's going to be booking some of your activities. Now 75 days out you can start to book your activities, and you're only limited to certain things that you can book in that time, and the rest open up when you actually check in.
Yeah, in which that's 30 days out. A lot we found on the 75 days out was predominantly like a lot of the alcohol tastings and photo things and little activities like that. The meeting the princesses were the 30 days out. We unfortunately missed out on getting that because they were all sold out by the time we'd finished all our check-in process. But what we ended up doing,
basically when we got to the cruise, basically on the day of the cruise, if you go near enough, or if you can get near enough to the boat, basically you can sort of sign into their Wi-Fi. Now that's the Wi-Fi you're going to use for the app. And once you do that, it lets you do certain functions and book certain things on the day. And that's what actually allowed us to book the Royal Gathering Princess Experience.
So yeah, we were able to get it in the end because they have a few extra left over that they sort of open up to when you arrive on the ship. We also, another couple there, we told them about it and they were also able to get a spot as well. But yeah, also what you do when you arrive to the ship at the beginning is you drop off your bags. There's a bag drop off zone, and they take all your luggage that you're wanting to go on to the ship, except for any carry-on things that you need for the day, because you don't get your room straight away. Yeah,
so when you actually get your booking window, it's like a 15-minute booking window. They recommend that you don't turn up before that, but by all means you can, because you don't want to be late or anything else. You can turn up early, and when you turn up you can still do your bag drop, even though you can't start going through into sort of the check-in lounge. So yeah, you can drop that bag off early if you're wanting to.
So they had a waiting area for people who were getting close to their boarding time, and there was a person who would come around and call out if you were a certain time zone for you to be able to go in and check in. And so when we were able to go in, we went in through, and there was quite a few different queues that we had to queue for, and loads of checking of our IDs, and then also of the boarding passes.
Yeah, you'll also be given, when you sort of check in at the desk area, like a wristband. That's basically for security clearance. Once you're on the boat you can tear that off and get rid of it, but yeah, you have to keep it on until you're actually physically on the boat as well.
Yeah, so once you've gone through borders, security, then you end up going and getting a nice family photo, which is quite nice, and you can pay for that to keep it if you want, and then you head on the ship and they have the lovely announcing that your family coming on board.
Disney Wonder, please welcome aboard the family of three.
So on board the boat, when you first arrive, you sort of wonder what will be available to do and eat. For us, it was that the Tianas and Tritons were open for like restaurant sit-down meals, or Cabanas for the buffet meal was open as well. So there was a good range of food that you could choose from, which was nice because, you know, we got on at lunchtime, so it meant we were able to get something to eat straight away before checking into our room.
Yeah, you do get through a phenomenal amount of stuff on that first day, especially exploring the ship and finding your way around. But if you are wanting to experience the pools, the first day did look to be one of the better days to do it. It's definitely a lot quieter on that first day, but bear in mind, because you're checking in your luggage and your luggage won't arrive to your room till potentially later that evening, you do have to bring anything you want with you in your carry-on luggage. So that includes your togs and things like that. Don't worry about towels, plenty of towels all littered around the pools. So yeah, you just need your togs.
And as the day went on, a lot of this food around the pool were all opening up as well. And there is also a great drink station. Yep, that's up by Cabanas on our boat. Yeah, lots of flavours, ice, there was water, there was teas, coffees, that sort of thing as well. Yeah, all when Cabanas is open, there's also a drink station there as well. So basically you'll get told in check-in when roughly your room will be available. We were told 1:30, so your room key is actually hooked onto this little fish outside your door, and you head on in, and it's such a great room. The room we had, we loved. There was only a couple of negatives. One was that there was 2 hair dryers, but they weren't very good. If I had known they hadn't been that good, I think I would have just bought my own. It took forever to dry your hair. And then another thing was the toilet, when it flushes, it is so loud it gives you a heart attack every single time.
Yeah, imagine a plain toilet just like that, really noisy, and I imagine if you've got little kids they might actually be quite scared to go in there and use it, or certainly to flush anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the room was very nice. It did have all the functions, all the features.
And the beds were very comfy.
Yeah. One of the things we did find though, on Disney cruises, a lot of people stick the sort of things on their doors with the magnets. Really popular. There was tons and tons. Basically most doors did have magnets on the doors. We bought our own little ones along with us that we custom made, but what we found was they didn't actually stick that well. The doors themselves, although they are metal, it's like a real thin metal that sort of, well, outdoor especially, you could feel it moving in and out if you pushed against it. So you do need quite a lot of magnets if you're going to be making your own magnets to take along.
But yeah, it's lots of fun, so if you want to get into the fun of it all, it is a lot of fun, and it makes it exciting for kids to find your door, and you know, even as adults we really enjoyed it.
It was fun, yes, looking at everyone else's as well. One of the things we did struggle to find online was information about the power within the room. Obviously these days people use a lot of devices and need a lot of charging, and we were under the impression there wasn't going to be any like New Zealand power points, but the room has provided an actual socket in the room, so we have got the 2 power points at 220 volts, which caters to New Zealand, and then there's also a few USB ports around the room as well, so you can charge up some things or use something that actually isn't USB as well, so that's quite nice to know.
One thing that wasn't open on the first day was the shops for us. We had heard in other videos that quite often they open in the evening on the first day. For us it was that they opened the next day at 9:30.
Now that's one thing you really need to pay attention to. You'll probably need to ask or check the app as to when they're going to open, because when they first open, it's a stampede. There's literally queues, or for us, there was queues lining up down the corridors, and as soon as those doors went open, it was mayhem. Certain items they basically have very limited supplies of. In fact, certain things that are already sold out of prior to our cruise, and within minutes everyone was grabbing what was left, and I'd say within half an hour there was several items that people were really wanting that were also sold out.
Yeah, definitely get there early.
Now, because we were on a New Zealand cruise, I'll talk about specifically what happened with the New Zealand one. Obviously international ones more hit in different locations, but for New Zealand, the cruise came from Australia to New Zealand, did several cruises in New Zealand, and then headed back to Australia on a separate cruise. The cruises within New Zealand, they basically didn't go far. So from Auckland they headed out, they basically went either up slightly or down slightly, but never went too far from shore, and basically you could, well for us, we could always see shore, albeit a long way away.
Yeah, so our particular boat, we're pretty sure they were sort of gauged where they went by the weather, and our one we took sort of seemed to stick around Coromandel and Tauranga area, and I think we even got to see the White
Island,
Island for a little bit far off in the distance. But yeah, seasickness wise, we were all okay as a family. On the first day we had a bit of like sea legs, so you know, you could really feel the movement, but after the first day you sort of get used to it. But here in New Zealand, there's loads of different seasickness medicines you can easily get from the chemist if you're worried, that you can take along with you. Also in the gift shop, there is a section there where there is some sort of staple things, and I think there was some seasickness medicine in that area, as well as other things if you've forgotten them. Things like toothbrushes, swimming nappies, and all sorts of different things in that little section.
Yeah, for me, I've never been seasick. And personally, I don't think you probably need to worry too much. If you've been car sick before, maybe just like preempt and take stuff with you. But honestly, even for me, never been car sick or anything like that before, you do get sea legs. I think you're just going to get sea legs no matter what. So expect that. It's just a little bit wobbly on your feet and you just feel the boat moving. But it's nothing to be worried about if you've probably never had seasickness or car sickness before.
So on the ship you spend a lot of time eating food. There's so many different restaurants. There's the set restaurants that you get given each night, and then there is also other restaurants that are just for adults only, like things more like that. They're a bit more like bars and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic assortment of stuff. The 3 restaurants that were on our boat, and I believe most restaurants have just the 3,
yeah.
Essentially there's set menus. That doesn't mean, like, it's a 4-course menu, but that doesn't mean you can only get the 4 courses. You can order all the mains if you want. You can order all the desserts. You can pretty much order anything you want, as much as you want.
Which Jono definitely took advantage of all the desserts.
Well, you tend to. Like, even then, as I say, there's still amazing food around the boat. Like, even up by the pool, there's really good selections. In cabanas, my personal preference was the breakfast was better than the lunches, but like, again, there was a great assortment and pretty much something for everyone. So one of the big questions we had before we set sail was around the activities on the boat. You do get the list, as we mentioned, with some of the stuff that you can book in advance, and we sort of thought hopefully that's not everything, but no, that's definitely not everything. Once you get on the boat, you can get an itinerary, and certainly the app that you have on your phone that you can download is your friend. It tells you every activity, and there is more than you can possibly get through.
And a great thing is they have the system where you can heart an activity that you're interested in, and it will actually keep you in a certain place of the app where, so you know that all that activity is coming up, and it will send you an alert. Yeah,
a reminder 15 minutes before. It's a wonderful thing. You really have to get to know the app, and unfortunately you can't until the day of the cruise, or unless you've been on the cruise before. But yeah, the app is definitely your friend. There's tons of activities. There's trivias, there's bingos, there's learning to draw, there's sort of, you name it. They pretty much have it.
And make sure you bring your autograph books for your kids so that they can get all the characters to sign in them. That's always a lot of fun and a great memory keepsake. Okay, tipping. It's a really unusual thing for us New Zealanders, as we don't have tipping in New Zealand. So it was a bit of a weird thing to get your head around.
Yeah, it's definitely something you have to, well, okay, you don't have to, but you're definitely something you should.
Yes.
All the crew are from America. They're obviously paid the wages that Americans pay because they allow for tipping, but the tipping isn't that hard to work out. It's something you're a little bit fearful of in advance, but they make it very easy for you.
So they give an option that you can actually prepay some of your tipping prior to even hopping on the ship, or you can still pay for it on the ship. We chose to do the prepay system, and that covered the person who did our rooms, served us at the tables, and a few other different people throughout the ship. And so it was an easy way for us that we didn't have to actually try and work it out then and there on the day. We just did it beforehand.
So we've just come back to our room. It's the final day and the first time we've been into our room this morning since it's been made up for the day. And this is the day that they leave you the gratuity cards. So those wanting to know a little bit more about gratuities, we've chosen to prepay. With that we get this green form. It's on the other side is all our details, so we won't show you that. But essentially there's 4 different sections, and there's perforated sort of strips, so you can tear them off into 4 little sections, and then you've got 4 separate cards as well. So basically you put those cards into the, or put the green form into the card envelope, and then you give those personally to your wait servers and the various people that they're for. If you can't find those persons, or if you're not going to see them, you can just sort of leave it and forget about it, and they get the money anyway because it's all prepaid. If you're choosing to pay yourself, I believe you just write in the amounts that you want to put onto the green paper, and then you put them in the envelope and hand them over as well. So yeah, quite interesting to know that. It's one of the things we didn't overly know about, but it is all in American dollars as well, so just bear that in mind.
So another way where you're meant to tip is, so in certain situations, like if you have ordered a drink at the bar or any extra things that aren't included in the cruise food or ship things, you get given a receipt and you can either pay with your account or you're paying cash, but most people just did it with their account. And on there it has an area where you say how much you want to tip, and then you just sign it, and then you tip that way. So it was nice and easy. We only had to do it a couple of times, and it was no trouble. But it is something definitely, as New Zealanders, it's very unusual, but it's something we just have to get used to and still be prepared to tip.
And one thing to bear in mind, it is still in American dollars. Same with the shop, it's all in American dollars. They don't change it to the country you're going to. And again, all that shop stuff can be charged back to your room, but you don't need to tip like the people at the shops.
Yes, yeah. Okay, the big question is, was it worth it?
It is a tricky one. It's very, very tricky. If you compare a Disney cruise to pretty much any other cruise, Disney cruises are quite expensive.
Yes.
But it's a whole different experience. You're paying for entertainment, you're paying for the theming.
So much entertainment.
And being the person I am, I roughly worked it out. I roughly worked out the room costs, the food, the entertainment, everything else. And if you're purely looking at dollar for dollar that we paid for our tickets, I do believe it's worth it.
Yes.
Even if you don't look at the dollar value, it's definitely worth it. It's such a fun experience. As I say, if you're really worried about money, yes, it's still worth it. But yeah, it's bite the bullet. If you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence, should we do it, shouldn't we, go for it. It's an amazing experience and was definitely worth it.
And the thing is there's so much to do on the ship that you don't actually have to pay extra above what your original ticket price was. You don't have to do all these extra things that cost a little bit. Like, we didn't actually do many, and yet we still had such an amazing, wonderful time.
Yeah, we only did the one thing that cost money, like activity, and that was bingo. But the rest of the time, as I say, we were still busy. We couldn't fit in all the activities that we wanted to do just because there was too many. And all those other ones, they're all free. So yeah, it was a fantastic time.
So yes, we do think it's definitely worth it. Even though we're not stopping anywhere, we're just going out to sea. It is a fun way, as somewhere all the way in New Zealand, it's so far away to get to any other type of Disney cruise. It still was worth just being able to go out to sea and have the holiday be the ship.
So the last thing we're going to talk with you today is about the checking out process.
So basically you have two choices. You can either leave your bags out the night before at a set time that they will tell you over the loudspeakers what the time is, and even in the app it sort of lets you know. Or you can choose to take your bags off yourself. But if you choose to take off the bags yourself, you do have to, once you leave your room, bring them around with you to breakfast and wherever else you go in the rest of the morning.
Now during your cruise, they're also going to give you a time for your breakfast on the final morning. They strongly encourage you to go to one of, you'll get a prefix restaurant. You won't get a choice of which restaurant, but they'll give you a restaurant that they want you to go to and a time that they want you to be there.
There is the option to go to cabanas as well, but it's sort of more favoured to go to the restaurant that you have been given.
So as well as all the tipping payment, we get these luggage tags. We got the purple mini one, and you put them on your luggage, and you put your luggage outside your door the night before, and then they will put it in that area where your luggage tag says to go, and that's where you can look for your bags.
Your tag colour is called out, then that's when you can leave the ship. Or there is another option where it's called express leave. If you really have to get off quite fast, they have another system for getting off. And it was very easy getting off the ship. There was no trouble. We were able to go straight through all the customs and then find our bags very, very easily.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Basically, once you start heading towards the exit of the boat, you're probably going to be through everything and off within 5 minutes. It's very, very quick.
Yeah, and then outside where you can get picked up in the are loads of taxis, or you can order Ubers, or otherwise, you know, if you've got some friends and family that can pick you up.
Yeah, so lots of options for that. But yeah, we had a fantastic time. The cruise was absolutely amazing. As I say, I think we can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic, and we're glad we can hopefully have shared some interesting information that you may not have heard in other places. As I say, there's lots to learn, lots to research before you cruise, so yeah, hopefully we've helped.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got any more questions, leave it down in the comments and we'll try our best to let you, give you the answers of what we have learnt.
But yeah, happy cruising.
Yeah, happy cruising.
And if you did like the video,
Like and subscribe.
give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.